Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Hedger begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Remote firefighting tactics are being used to help battle an out-of-control bushfire in Tasmania's southwest wilderness. Low cloud has hampered helicopter access this morning, but this afternoon emergency services were able to drop in specialist teams to Lake Rona. The fire is currently burning over more than 17,000 hectares with a large boundary of 91 kilometres.
The incident management team meeting at the Cambridge Fire headquarters this afternoon to get a handle on the latest information about the Gel River blaze.
The incident management team have regular meetings throughout the day, and during those meetings we talk about current weather predictions, our operations in relation to suppression.
The fire, triggered by 2 lightning strikes, is burning in remote wilderness, the only way in by helicopter. Specialist remote teams dropped in near Lake Rona this afternoon when low cloud finally lifted.
It's a high-risk job, so all the personnel are specially trained. They basically use wet hose lines where there's a suitable water source. If there's not a suitable water source, they use dry firefighting techniques.
As well as the wilderness assets, the fire is also burning near valuable forestry.
It's significantly large. We are talking in excess of $600 million worth of standing timber.
While weather conditions on Tuesday may increase fire activity, authorities aren't expecting a repeat of Friday. That saw Upper Derwent Valley towns blanketed in thick orange smoke and threatened with ember attacks.
We've got a relatively benign weather for the next week, so it's going to give us an opportunity to do some really good firefighting suppression activities on the fire edges.
The wildfire isn't directly threatening communities now, but its smoke cloud is choking parts of the state. The greater Hobart, Derwent and Huon Valley areas are likely to be impacted over the next 24 hours.
Smoke in our ambient air in our towns and in our cities can be an issue for people, particularly for older people or those with respiratory issues or asthma, and so we just encourage them to stay indoors during those peak periods.
Michael BREEN, 7 Tasmania News.
The government says low-cost abortions are being provided to Tasmanian women, despite a service which was promised to start 2 months ago still not being open. Women's health advocates labelling it disappointing there still isn't a dedicated provider in the state, but the minister says there's good reason. More than a year on from Tasmania's dedicated surgical abortion provider closing its doors, the conversation continues.
The government could have provided this service in the public system. They could have taken steps to make this service available around the state, and they've failed to do so. 2 months ago, it was announced dedicated provider Hampton Park Women's Centre would be opening its doors in Hobart that week and taking referrals. But today, that provider still isn't available.
It's still disappointing that we're so far in on the conversation, and we still don't have a permanent provider in the state. So, we're working with government on improving how we actually refer women into this service.
The government says the wait is due to delays with capital works at the premises.
And in the meantime, in fact, what's occurred is that the other private hospital and the private gynecologists in Hobart have actually matched the price. Low-cost abortions are now being provided.
Family Planning Tasmania wanting to reassure women that there are options for those seeking abortions, with 4 agencies offering support by providing options and non-directional counselling. Despite a government funding travel assistance plan being in place for women to travel to Hobart, there's again calls for a more holistic approach and for the service to be available in the north and northwest.
Well, women recover best when they're surrounded by familiar surroundings, their family, their friends, and also, but it also is in the context of appropriate healthcare.
The minister says his policy remains that the service won't be made available through the public health system. The Health Minister is slamming the unions responsible for urging the walk-off of health professionals at the Mersey Hospital. Tomorrow, some surgical staff will walk off the job as part of the ongoing dispute about pay and conditions. The walk-off means around 15 elective surgeries will be cancelled.
That people can walk away from their job and stop a patient from getting their surgery, which they're entitled to, which the Tasmanian government is paying for, and which doctors have determined is clinically necessary, should mean that this is completely unacceptable tactic.
They have every right to take industrial action like any workers do, and they are doing this as an absolute last resort. The Minister has driven them to take this action, and the responsibility for that falls squarely with him.
While staff continue to demand increased pay, the government says a 6% pay rise over 3 years is fair, affordable and reasonable. A 20-year-old P-plater has been charged after allegedly being caught with a blood alcohol reading of more than twice the legal limit. Police say the man tried to evade officers during a random breath test operation in Launceston CBD last night, but was located a short time later. It's understood at the time he had 5 young people in the car, with only 3 with seats. He's been charged with a string of offences and disqualified from driving for 6 months. Back home now, and the main draw of the Hobart International gets underway tomorrow. Some of the Australian players meeting the Ball Kids today, a gang of about 30 who will be running around the courts for the week-long tournament. Ellen Perez and Zoe Hives scored wildcards to the Hobart International, as well as spots for the Australian Open.
It's my first time in Hobart, so I'm really looking forward to competing, and I mean, all these girls can play some great tennis, so just anyone I play this week is a great opportunity.
Yeah, really exciting. I played in Hobart a few years ago, actually, 2016, won around there, beat my first top 100 player, actually my only top 100 player, so yeah, I was really excited to be able to come back here and play again.
In today's qualifying, 2015 winner Britain's Heather Watson beat Australia's Isabel Wallace to earn her spot in the main draw. Returning to our lead story tonight, more vision has been released in the last hour, giving us our best view yet of the wildfire burning at Gel River in Tasmania's remote southwest. This vision has been released from a specialist aircraft helping to map and monitor the fire. Infrared images showing the heat of the fire front as it burns across a large boundary of 91 kilometres. This is our first extensive view of the impact the 17,000 hectare blaze is having on our state's World Heritage Area. A South Australian man is halfway through a daring mission to circumnavigate Tasmania on a jet ski by himself. 60-year-old Lindsay Warner has just completed what may be the toughest part of the journey, the state's wild and remote west coast.
A sight of relief for Lindsay Warner's partner as the adventurer arrives in Hobart this afternoon.
There's been moments when I've actually felt quite ill. Yesterday I had no contact with him from start until I met him on the beach down at South Port. That's anxious time.
Reaching Constitution Dock, this is the halfway point in his mission to circumnavigate Tasmania solo on a jet ski.
We've been planning for 12 months, but also looking at every segment, breaking it down into little pieces of achievability, and then working out how to put them all together in one big trip.
After setting off from Devonport a week ago, some of the toughest segments were on the west coast. A victory lap when he reached Strawn on Wednesday.
Shower!
During a hairy ride down one of the most remote parts of the coastline.
It was a real eye-opener. I didn't realise waves could be so big. Coming down from Stanley, turning to go down the west coast was a bit tricky earlier on, but I got used to that.
The 60-year-old is no stranger to adventure. Last year he completed a circumnavigation around South Australia's Kangaroo Island, sparking an idea.
I jokingly said, you should do Tasmania now. So there you have it.
Are you regretting that now?
No, it's the sort of person that will continue to do this sort of thing for the rest of his life.
He sets off to complete the journey on Tuesday. Michael BREEN, 7 Tasmania News.
After hitting the winning runs on Friday night against the Stars, Simon MILENKO says the Hurricanes leadership group is keeping a lid on things as the side goes 5 wins from 5 games.
I think we come in, we win games, we go into the change rooms, everyone's staying quite calm at the moment.
This morning, the side flew to Melbourne for tomorrow night's clash against the Renegades at Marvel Stadium. The women's side was also on the same flight, connecting to Adelaide, with captain Sasha Maloney desperate to boost her players' confidence in their final 3 games.
That's nicely put away.
We obviously can't make the finals for this year, but how can we give some confidence to our future players, I guess? And obviously, once Big Bash is over, we're going to be going back into WNCL, so there's still a lot that we can, I guess, work on going into those games as well.
The women's side will play the Adelaide Strikers on Tuesday and Wednesday before finishing up against the Melbourne Renegades on the weekend. Back home, and the pulse of the country's paddling community has come to Tasmania for the National Wild Water Championships. Launceston's Dan Hall finished second in the open kayaking, while Huonville's Daniel Watkins made the top 5. Both are now likely starters for Australia's World Cup teams.
You can't get much more rugged and remote than Lake Rowallan, a place which had hearts pumping in the heart of the Mersey River. There's a lot on the line for these paddlers. National selection for the World Cups in Europe hinges on results here today. Among those competing is Tasmanian talent Daniel Watkins. He's been coming here for more than 10 years.
Oh, I love it. It's so fun to get back to somewhere you've paddled so much and have so many more people come over as well.
Dozens of these water warriors have already tasted competition overseas, but as front-runner Rob McIntyre will tell you, an appetite for adventure is vital to success.
It's not funded and we're doing it out of love, and I think the people that we do get in the sport are those that are truly passionate, and it's an exceptional thing.
This is one of the world's few all-natural slalom courses, hugely popular with the paddlers, although it demands a few minor adjustments.
On this one, I'd stay away from the banks maybe a little bit more because I don't want to hit a tree. When you go from paddling in concrete courses all the time and you come here, it's so amazing. I really love it. It's beautiful.
So although it hasn't got huge rapids, it's really continuous, so you don't get a chance to rest at all. You've really got to pay a lot of attention. It's a challenging course all the way down.
And with the Tokyo Olympics now just 18 months away, this has been the best chance for paddlers to impress on home soil before the final squad is locked in.
Starting from a mark of 3.5 metres, 17-year-old Jagger Pybus has won this year's men's gift at Hobart's Bikes and Spikes Carnival. The local runner held off stall champion Jacob Despard to claim victory. Back marker Mia Gross from Melbourne took out the women's gift, beating local rivals including Somerset's Morgan Gaffney. Devonport's Tristan Aylett won the Steve Daly Memorial Men's Wheel, while fellow North West coaster Amelia Langham won the Women's Wheel. And at long odds, Perfect Mac has won the $12,000 main race at this year's Burnie Cup. Driven by Hannah Van Dongen, Perfect Mac created a huge lead around the final bend, easily holding off Castor Troy and Major Callum at the line.
Battling on Major Callum and Gogo GG running on, but Perfect Mac 3 wide for a lap, races away from them to win the 7BU Burnie Cup.
The Ben Yole trained horse was paying a huge $40.40 for the win.
Good evening, everyone. 26 the state's top at Cressy today, 25 a popular temperature in Hobart, Launceston and Devonport. Elsewhere it was 24 at the Friendly Beaches, St Helens and Ouse 22, 21 at Low Head today, Smithton and Grove both 20, 19 on King Island, 19 also for Strawn and Lyowini up to 18 degrees after a low of 5 overnight. On the close-up, low-level cloud about the west, northwest and southeast of the state. The northeast relatively cloud-free today. On the satellite, a cold front over the Tasman Sea connects to an inland surface trough. An associated cloud band extends from coastal parts of New South Wales to New Zealand. Widespread middle-level cloud extends over WA. Tomorrow, a high pressure ridge extends from the southwest coast of WA into the Bight. The high pressure ridge further influencing Tasmania's weather, and a cold front moves south of the Bight. Coastal waters and northwest to southwesterly winds at 5 to 15 knots, up to 20 knots about the south. Swells building to 1 to 3 metres in the east, reaching 4 metres in the south later. No warnings for tomorrow, so on to Monday's forecast. A possible late shower for Hobart, 22. Light showers and smoke for Dover, 21. Smoke forecast over Ouse, 27. A sunny day in the north, Launceston, 27. Devonport and Scottsdale both expecting 23. Burnie, a sunny day tomorrow, 21. Light showers clearing for Strawn and a mostly sunny day for Stanley, 22. In the east, a possible light shower for St Helens 22, Swansea 22 also, and Ross mostly sunny, the possibility of smoke from the fires in the morning there, 27 degrees. The UV forecast is once again very high to extreme statewide. Turning to Tuesday now, fine until showers develop about the west and extend to most areas later. Wednesday, showers forecast for the west and far south, but fine elsewhere. And finally Thursday, showers once again about the west and south, clearing the evening. Another fine day for the remainder. Around the country tomorrow, Perth, sunshine and 33. Adelaide looking at 30, 24 in Melbourne and Sydney. Canberra fine and 27. Darwin 34. Brisbane a morning shower possible, warming to 30 degrees. And at the moment it's 22 in Hobart, 23 in Launceston and sunny also in Devonport and 22, and that wraps up Sunday's weather. Thanks, Louise.
Thanks for that, Laura. It looks nice everywhere. That's all your news for this Sunday evening. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.